Good morning everybody. You are all students of English literature. Now tell me the names of the writers who immediately, spontaneously come to your minds at the mention of the name English literature. Okay, Shakespeare. Okay, Marlowe, Shakespeare, Marlowe. Ben Jonson. Beckett. Is in English literature, Bernard Shaw is second to none, except to Shakespeare. He is the modern English playwright, the leading dramatist of his time, and the most inspiring dramatist of all the times. Personally speaking, Bernard Shaw is my favorite writer in English, and the most striking feature of Bernard Shaw is his sense of humor. His sense of humor is hilarious, but at the same time it is not the cheap, physical tickling sense of humor. It is the sharp, spontaneous, critical, intellectual wit. It pervades through all his plays. I don't know whether you have read Shaw's plays, A Man and Superman, Arms and the Man, St. John, and Pygmalion. As far as I am concerned, Pygmalion is the best play of Shakespeare. Any student of literature shouldn't miss Pygmalion. Okay? Now let me give you a few words about Pygmalion. Pygmalion is based on a Greek myth. Okay? In the Greek myth, Pygmalion is the king of Cyprus, and he has got his own ideal concept of woman. And since he has not met his ideal woman, he remains unmarried. Pygmalion is a sculptor also, and he makes an ivory sculpture of his own, of picturizing his ideal womanhood, and he names it Galatea. When he finishes the ivory sculpture, he feels enamored of his own creation. It looks so beautiful and it looks so lifelike, and it gives that picture, it becomes a symbol of his own ideal womanhood. So he feels enamored of his own creation, he falls in love with his own creation, the ivory sculpture. And then goddess Venus, in appreciation of his artistic skill, brings the ivory sculpture to life. Galatea comes to life, and then Pygmalion marries her. Pygmalion marries his own creation, Galatea, and goddess Venus blesses them with prosperity and everlasting happiness. So this is the myth. So Shaw chooses this myth and then writes a play about it. So the concept is the concept of the creator falling in love with his own creation. Okay? Here the Pygmalion is Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins is a phonetician, a professor. He is Professor Higgins. Okay? He is a specialist in linguistics. So the play opens on a rainy evening in the courtyard of a church. Okay? Mr. Higgins, he takes shelter from the rain, and then he is standing there, and there is one another man, Colonel Pickering. He is a specialist in dialects. Okay, there is Tamil language. There are so many dialects, he said. Madurai dialect, Coimbatore dialect, Chennai dialect, Karaikudi dialect. There are so many dialects. And he is a specialist in dialects. So they become friends, they introduce themselves to each other. They talk about English language. And then they hear a voice, a rough voice, shouting at the top of a voice. There is a slum flower girl standing there selling flowers, and then she is speaking in a clumsy, messy slum English. It doesn't sound English at all. Nobody can understand what she speaks, but she is shouting at the top of her voice. She is Eliza Dolittle. Miss Eliza Dolittle. She looks dirty, messy, as if she had not taken bath for months. Okay, and she speaks in English in the most awkward manner. But since Higgins and Colonel Pickering, since they are interested in linguistics, they listen to Eliza Dolittle out of curiosity. Then Professor Higgins says that I can teach this creature. He doesn't call her a girl. I can teach this girl, this creature, and then transform her into somebody who speaks in refined English. Okay? And then Colonel Pickering says that if you accept the challenge and you win, I will bear all the expenses of the experiment. Okay? So he makes a challenge. She is a slum flower girl who talks awkward English. Okay? Who belongs, and she has got very clumsy manners also, social manners also. But he makes a challenge. He says that within 6 months, I'll train her to speak refined English. I'll teach her all the sophisticated manners. I'll make her pass for a girl from a high-class society. He accepts the challenge. And then Eliza Dolittle listens to this and she thinks that if I can speak good English, I can become an assistant in a florist shop. That is her ambition. I can be employed in a flower shop. So she follows Higgins and then comes to his house. Says that, please teach me good English, Okay? So now Higgins accepts it as a challenge. He takes her into his house. She's foul smelling. Okay? She's dirty. Okay? She wears shabby clothes and he speaks the most awkward English. He takes her in. He hands it over to her. He just cannot tolerate her sight. But still, he would like to win the challenge. So he takes her in, hands it over to his housekeeper, Mrs. Pierce. Says that, throw her into the bathtub. Okay? Give her a rub all the dirt from her. Okay? Bring her neat. Give her a set of clothes. Bring her to me, then I will start the training. Okay? That scene is really so humorous. Eliza Dolittle being forcibly thrown into the bathtub and then she's given a rub. Okay, she's made neat, then she's given neat clothes and then she's brought back. Now, Mr. Higgins begins the experiment. Okay? He treats her like an experimental rat. He doesn't treat her as a human being. Okay? As far as he is concerned, she is a rat in a lab. Okay? So he begins the experiment. He trains her in phonetics. He trains her the right accent. Okay? And he trains her in the right sophisticated social manners. Personally, Mr. Higgins, he admires his own mother so much that he feels that I have not met any woman who is so sophisticated, so elegant, so posh like my mother. Okay, so he remains unmarried. Okay, so now he trains her and then he gets an invitation from an ambassador's party. Okay, from an ambassador's party where all the high class society people would come. Okay, so now this is the time for him to prove his challenge, to win the experiment. So he takes her. He takes her to the ambassador's party. Okay, he gets her the most expensive dress. He hires jewelry for her. And he trains her to speak in refined, sophisticated English. Okay? So Eliza Dolittle enters the ambassador's party. She is dressed so elegant and then she moves around so sophisticated and refined and she speaks so good English that everybody feels impressed. Higgins introduces Eliza Dolittle as a duchess. And everybody believes she cannot be nothing else but a duchess because she looks so beautiful and she's so elegant and sophisticated in her manners. She moves around with so much self-confidence and above all that, she speaks such good English. Okay? So everybody feels impressed and they all believe that she is a duchess. So Higgins wins the challenge. Okay? I'll give you, for your better understanding, I'll give you a parallel Indian situation. Okay? You know what is a slum. You must have seen the film Kaka Muttai. Kaka Muttai is the setting is the slum. There they speak the slum language. Kaide, Somari, Kasmalam, Munjada, Pichangayavike. Okay? So this is the language they speak. Okay? Imagine an Anna University professor. Okay, you can call him Mr. Mukesh, somebody. Okay? Mr. Ramesh, a reputed Anna University professor in linguistics who is well placed in the high society, is so influential, he picks up a slum girl. Okay, from Nellikupam in Chennai, whose name may be Mariamma. Okay, he trains her, he washes her, gives her a wash, and then he trains her to speak sophisticated, refined English in the standard accent. He trains her how to move around sophisticated in the high class society. Then maybe he gets an invitation for the wedding party in Mukesh Ambani. Anand Ambani is getting married now, so he gets an invitation. He takes Mariamma to Mukesh Ambani's wedding party. He introduces her as Miss Stella Mary. Okay, Mariamma becomes Miss Stella Mary, who had an education in Oxford University, London. And now she has come to India. She has cleared IFS, higher than IAS, Indian Foreign Service, and there is a chance that she may be appointed as Indian Ambassador for Great Britain. This is the way our Anna University professor introduces Miss Stella Mary to the guests in Mukesh Ambani's wedding party. Mukesh Ambani, Nita Ambani, Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Deepika Padukone, Ranveer Singh, everybody. Okay, Virat Kohli, who were all the guests there, they all come forward to shake hands with Stella Mary. They think that she is going to be the future ambassador Indian ambassador for Great Britain. So this is the situation. Okay, so Mr. Higgins wins the challenge. They come back home. Okay, Mr. Higgins is so happy and proud. So happy and proud about his own creation. So far, he had never been impressed by any woman. For the first time, he had loathed the sight of Eliza Dolittle. He had treated her as a rat in the lab. She's a loathsome creature for him. But now, he is impressed by the self-confident, sophisticated way she had moved around and she had spoken refined English. So he feels impressed by his own creation. Okay? He thinks that Eliza Dolittle, who has now passed for a duchess, would be feeling grateful to him for all the effort because he had put in tremendous efforts to transform her. So he feels happy. He takes it for granted that Eliza Dolittle would be feeling grateful to him for all the efforts. Okay? And then after coming home, feeling very proud and happy, he orders her as usual. He gives her a command because she is after all a creation of him. She has become what she is only because of him. So he gives him a string of orders. Get me a cup of tea, get me the cheese, get me my shoes, everything. Okay? But Eliza Dolittle just ignores it. She doesn't obey him. She thanks Colonel Pickering. She thanks Colonel Pickering for treating her like a lady. Colonel Pickering had called her Miss Dolittle. He recognized her as a human being. So she thanks him, but she ignores Higgins. Because Higgins had treated her only as an experimental rat, not as a human being, not as a dignified human being. He had never treated her with this had hurt her. Okay? Now, along with the vowels and the consonants that she has gathered self-respect also. Okay? She has gathered through the experiment. Now she has got her own sense of self-respect. She's self-confident now. Okay? So, a woman of self-respect, she just ignores Mr. Higgins and then moves towards her slum, where the play ends. Moves towards her slum, there her ex-lover Freddie is waiting. There the play ends. Okay? Shaw leaves it to your imagination whether Eliza Dolittle will come back and be happy with staying with Mr. Higgins, or whether she'll marry Freddie. It's left to you. It is left to the readers. Okay, but in the Pygmalion myth, the creation, Galatea, happily marries Pygmalion. But here in this play, Eliza Dolittle, the creation of Mr. Higgins, now who has emerged as a woman of self-respect and self-confidence, ignores him and goes away. Okay, so this is the play Pygmalion. He leaves it to the imagination of the readers. The play, so many times I have read Pygmalion. Every time I enjoy Pygmalion. It is made a film. It's made a film, My Fair Lady. I don't know whether it's available in the department. If not, so please don't miss it. My Fair Lady, a musical romantic comedy. Okay? The Shaw's play Pygmalion can be treated as a satire. It is an attack on the notions of the high class society in England. In England, the high class society always thinks themselves to be very high. Okay, we are all born high. We can conduct ourselves in a sophisticated manner. We can talk refined English. Okay, so they treat the low class people as dirt. It's inferior. You are in no way equal to us. But through the play, Shaw tells you that you are not born high. Okay, it is your English, your manners, your sophistication, your elegance. It is not hereditary. It is just acquired. You are born in that society. You have that environment. You are trained that way. So you speak good English, and then you conduct yourself sophisticated and elegant. சரியா? கருப்பா இருக்கவெல்லாம் கலீஜும் கிடையாது, வெளுத்தவெல்லாம் மேட்டுக்குடியும் கிடையாது. Okay? So anybody, even a slum flower girl, provided given the right training, she can also pass for a duchess. Okay, so don't think too high of yourselves. So this is the attack on the high class society in Britain. And Shaw's Pygmalion can also be called a feminist play. It's a feminist play. In the male-dominated society, men always takes women for granted, especially when they are rich, when they are highly educated. Okay, they think that women will fall at their feet for all the money they have, for all the comforts they will live. Even now, okay, the high class society will usually men, they take women for granted. They think that they are low, they will fall at my feet. If I give them all the riches, all the comfort, they will fall at my feet. Now, Higgins also takes Eliza Dolittle for granted. He thinks that I have made her. I can give her all the comforts. I can give her all the riches. So, she will be happy to stay with me. But Eliza Dolittle flings mud on Higgins' face. She just ignores him and walks towards the slums. Okay? So, women always don't fall at the feet of men. Even if they are rich, even if they are educated, even if they can give them all the riches and the comforts. If you don't respect me, I wouldn't fall at your feet. This is the feminist stand, and Eliza Dolittle does this. Understand? So, Shaw's Pygmalion can be treated as a satire on the high class society in England, and at the same time, it's also a feminist play, okay, which attacks the taken for granted attitude of the men in the male-dominated society. Okay, I think I have given you a picture of Pygmalion. It's a personal request to you. Please don't miss Pygmalion. Okay, it's a hilarious comedy. The way Eliza Dolittle behaves. Okay, and then Mr. Higgins and the housekeeper, Mrs. Pierce, they try to. She's a wild creature. She screams and shouts everybody who attempts even to take a bath. She resists. No, I have never taken bath. I don't take bath. It's not my part of life. Okay? She resists even taking bath. She enjoys being dirty. Okay? So the way Eliza Dolittle reacts to all the efforts of Higgins, and then Higgins treats her the boorish, arrogant way he treats her, and then the way she moves around in the high class society and the ambassador's party. So funny, at the same time, it's real intellectual wit. Okay? இது வந்து செந்தில் கவுண்டமணி காமெடி கிடையாது. Okay, this is intellectual, sharp, spontaneous, intellectual wit. So if you like to enjoy sharp intellectual wit, please go to the place of Shaw and especially Pygmalion. Okay, any question, any reaction, any response? Have you read Pygmalion? Please do. If you have not done so far, please read Pygmalion. And if at all, if you get a chance, see the movie My Fair Lady. Okay, the film version of Pygmalion. Okay, thank you.